Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Fox, and today I wanted to have a look at a different type of Seeker build. The whole purpose of this build is to have less damage, but far more frequent cluster Seeker mines in particular. The good thing with this skill is it does a lot of damage. The explosive damage on it is very high, and it can also target multiple enemies at the same time. The way that they balance that is by making the cooldown quite long. Even with all of the skill haste and skill tier that I have on this build, you can see on the right there that it is still 24.5 seconds. So what I decided to do was to use some of the new Empress gear with the benefits that that offers and the named Empress backpack with Tag Team to see just how frequently I could throw Seekers. And this build actually seems pretty good. I've been playing around with it quite a lot, and there's a lot of synergy. It works really well. You could easily swap out the chest talent to a number of different things and the build would still work pretty much just as well. So it's quite flexible as well. So let's have a look at the build. Let's see exactly what I've done to achieve these very frequent Seekers, and then I'm going to demonstrate it in a heroic mission so I can show you just how low we can get this cooldown without the use of hardwired or overcharging or anything like that, perfect skilled. I feel like this exact combination is the best way to do it. I'm not using any exotics here. I did originally run this with Waveform, but it just didn't pair very well with the build. It didn't kind of complement what I was doing, even though it equated to increased damage. This is just more reliable, consistent damage. I don't have to wait for one skill to be stronger than the other. It just works all of the time. We are starting with Technician, just because this gives us a +1 skill tier, so I can afford to have the 1 red on the build to buff my Capacitor a little bit more, but still, of course, retain that +6. And it gives us a 10% skill damage as well, which is really nice. Capacitor is definitely best in slot for skill builds at the moment, as it gives us the very nice talent that allows us to build up quite a significant amount of skill damage. As you can see, shooting enemies builds up stacks of up to 40, but each stack is 1.5% skill damage. And for each skill tier, which we're currently at 6, we're going to gain 7.5% weapon damage, which is absolutely fantastic. That equates to a lot of additional red on this build. It's like having 3 additional red on this build. It's like having 4 red along with 6 yellow. It just works really well. We've got the, just in case we can run into ammo problems, we do have the Harmony, as this is still a great option for any skill build, and the card as well, but I don't really need to use this. So Empress is the new brand set that was introduced in TU12, the Season 4, and what this does is it gives us 2 very powerful benefits to any skill build: skill efficiency and skill damage. Skill efficiency is the best stat in the game for skill builds, as it offers every single skill stat that exists at a 1-for-1 ratio. So 10% skill efficiency is 10% of the following: skill damage, skill health, status effects, repair skills, skill duration, and skill haste. It's literally everything. And just to prove that point, because I know some people are not convinced that skill efficiency is the same as skill damage, it is literally identical. You can see here that the damage of this particular turret is 63.6. So let's just say 63,600. If I swap out the 3rd Empress with 10% skill damage to a Wyvern, which is 10% skill damage, and that's also rolled on there, you'll see that the damage is identical. It's exactly the same. So even though we've gained the 10% skill damage from Wyvern and lost the 10% skill efficiency from the 3rd Empress, the damage of my skills is identical. I just wanted to sort of clear that up there. There is, no reason why you shouldn't be running the 3-piece of Empress. I don't think the 2-piece is worth it personally. I think you either want to go 3-piece or none at all. What I've done with the other 3 pieces of this build is put 2 Gruppo and 1 China Light, because 2 Gruppo give me 15% explosive damage, but we can actually use the critical hit damage for my Capacitor, and the China Light gives me the 15% explosive damage as well. Now, with regards to your chest talent, you can use whatever you want. I wanted to get my cooldowns as low as possible, so I really like Tag Team since it was buffed. It is far more consistent and just outright better for cooldowns than Skilled and Perfectly Skilled. Yes, they give you a 25% to 30% chance of resetting your skills on skill kills, but as my long-time subscribers will know, a lot of my builds I like to combine what I call on-kill talents and before-kill talents. Tag Team is a before-kill talent. You don't need to get any kills to reduce your cooldowns, and that is why I think it is better. But since it's buff, it's phenomenal. It gives me a reduction of 6 seconds, and it's only a 4-second cooldown, so you can just constantly lower your skills. We are using the new name backpack that comes from the Season Pass and is available in the open world loot pool. You'll get tons of these from your Season Pass caches as well. Perfectly Calculated reduces all skill cooldowns by 15% when we get kills from in cover. So this is our on-kill talent to match up with our before-kill talent, Tag Team. The good news is that because our Capacitor is so powerful, we can use that to proc Perfectly Calculated. It doesn't need to be skill kills, it's just any kill that I do from cover will reduce all of my cooldowns by 15%, and this doesn't have a cooldown. You can get one kill after the next, and it keeps reducing it. Very, very powerful for any skill in the game, but particularly for Seekers as they have such a long cooldown. And where I'm losing out on all the additional damage from Waveform, Glass Cannon, Kinetic Momentum, Memento, all of that sort of thing, I'm more than making up for it by the fact that I can throw these bad boys out very, very frequently. It works so well, and I'm really happy with how this build has played out. All of your pieces want to be rolled into skill haste and skill damage. I think some of these do have status effects on them. Yeah, this does annoyingly, which is fine, I guess. So does my China Light, so these do pair well with other explosive skills like Mortar and Explosive Seekers as they apply bleed. But, you know, even with all of the skill haste I've got on here and all of the 12% skill haste mods, I've still got quite a lengthy cooldown. So what we'll do now is we'll load into that mission so I can show you how this all works. By all means, screenshot that if you would like to do so. Pretty straightforward to build, just 5 yellow, 1 red. Get the 2 Grupo, 1 China, and then the 3 Empress in there. The Empress has given us a 20% skill damage to make our turret hit hard enough. And then, of course, this is all about Seeker Mines. So, yes, you may think it would make sense to run Demolitionist for the additional 15%. But Technician is great because I can have 1 red to buff Capacitor. I still get 10% skill damage, which buffs both my turret and my Seeker Mine. So in my mind, it was a close battle between the two. I tested both, but the overall damage was improved by Technician because of this 1 red and because of the skill damage. So my weapons and my skills are still being buffed. With that all cleared up, let's go into the mission. Let's see how we do. So I'm going to load into Grand Hotel Solo Heroic, no directives, and I'm going to throw a buttload of Seekers. But I'm not going to start the mission, apparently. What happened there? I swear I started that.
You're right next to the Grand Washington
There we go.
Hotel.
Okay, here we go. That should get their attention. Head to the service entrance on the east side of the building.
Whoops. So there you go, that was the first tag team already procs. Second one, we're getting my Seekers straight back. Look at that.
Find a way to the atrium.
It's so quick, it's unreal. Just going to break those down. The fact that you can pick up your turrets now makes it so much easier to play this build. You know, Hardwired is good for this because when you obviously throw one skill, it resets the other one, and it is better now that we can redeploy our turrets, but it was just too much, and obviously you can only have one attribute on those sort of builds, so for me I don't know, it was just too much work, and it does perform basically as well as this build. It really does. Oh, look at that instant Seeker back again. But yeah, I just feel that this version is better for getting all of the skill efficiency which we wouldn't get with Hardwired. We don't need to worry about throwing skills out at random time, just like Waveform. You know, Waveform, you want to be throwing your skills out at different times. We don't need to worry about any of that. This one, you just throw them and shoot stuff. And that guy's dead too. Nice, easy as that.
I'm heading upstairs to the hospital.
Yeah, and I like this. You know, it's as I said before, the lack of skill damage on this build. Because I know everybody's talking about. I know everybody's talking about running Waveform or running Memento with your 3 Empress and, you know, Glass Cannon or Kinetic Momentum. It's not always about raw damage numbers in terms of your per bullet or your per shot damage for your skills. If my skills do less damage, you know, they do, let's say, I don't know, 20% less damage, but I can throw them 50% more frequently, well, that's more damage. You know, DPS is a combination of what the actual damage does, you know, times how frequently you can apply that damage. So sometimes people make the mistake with high rate of fire weapons. There's damage in this guy. They'll look at it and see the damage is low, but they're not factoring in quite a simple DPS check, which is just to sort of calculate its RPM over a minute, or over a second, should I say, and then factor that in with the damage of the skill or the weapon. And that's kind of where your true DPS numbers come from. And that doesn't factor in sort of reloads and so on, but... Where are my Seekers? Well, I guess they're disappearing. Right, let's wait for tag team to appear on here. Already got Seekers back, so I don't know what happened there. That was kind of weird. There we go. Seekers are already down to 2 seconds, and they've only just deployed them. So see what I'm saying? It's so fast. You get your Seekers back instantly, or at least it feels like instantly, which is really powerful for Seekers because they do like I say, a buttload of damage. but I'm just throwing them all the time. And the good news is, because I've got Capacitor with the bottom part here giving me loads of weapon damage and the 1 red on the build, you know, this gets me so many kills to proc perfectly calculated. And obviously the China Light and double Grupo is what buffs the explosive damage. Yes, I could have gone more into Wyvern and Hannah Yu and, you know, possibly even Waveform or Memento. I could definitely have done that, and that would, you know, definitely perform very well. But everybody's running that build at the moment, and I just want to show that you can be quite flexible and you can kind of run, you know, different versions and it will still perform just as well. I mean, I'm not struggling here at all. I've got no form of survivability. I've got no armor regen, no armor. It's you know, yellows and reds only. It's definitely not a build that is designed to be survivable like Memento can offer, with the extra armor, the bonus armor, and of course the constant armor regen. But it just kills everything. It just murders everything all the time. And I've always wanted a good Seeker build, and I've always tried building them, and it usually ends up being hardwired to get the you know, to get them as frequently as possible. But this is better. This is just hands down better. Not only am I doing more damage, I'm getting my Seekers back as frequently, sometimes more frequently. There's enough enemies, and tag team sort of lines up at the right time. So if I change to this guy now, there we go, Seeker's back. All you've got to do is just change your target on your turret. And yeah, and kill stuff. That's it. Super easy. You don't want to shoot your tag team guy until your Seekers have gone back into cooldown. Look, they're already back down to 8 seconds, so yeah. Definitely a very potent build. This works really well with Overwatch, because you're going to be sat in cover for your perfectly calculated proc. If you want to play it as more of a team-centric build, then you definitely want to change your chest talent to Overwatch, but then you find that you are getting your skills back less frequently, and because then you've only got perfectly calculated in a group, you are less likely to be the person to close the kill, and therefore less likely to reduce your cooldowns. So I like tag team. I'd rather just have them all the time. I just find that over the course of an entire mission, I end up doing more damage with this exact build than the more traditional versions that you might have seen in the past. Let's get those stacks all built up. Gonna kill this guy? Nope, he did 0 damage apparently. Say I does so much damage, it's crazy.
As long as I'm not breathing asbestos, that blasted a lot of damage.
154k on the turret as well. I mean, yeah, you can get high numbers, but this build isn't about the turret. The turret is just there to constantly give me tag team and just apply constant, reliable damage, and it works. I don't think we need to go any further in the mission. I think that showcased the build well enough, but this has become my main skill build. You know, I've always liked Seeker Mines, and I love the fact that I can swap this out for any skill that has a relatively long cooldown. Another great example is the Sticky Bomb. I could just run this with a explosive Sticky Bomb all the time. 15-second cooldown, that would disappear. Like, I would get this back so frequently. The only reason I use Seeker Mines, cluster Seeker Mines, is that they target things automatically. They're easy just to drop at your feet or throw out, and you know, I feel that skills that have high cooldowns benefit most from this build. So you know, you don't want it with like a drone, because they only have a short cooldown and a very long duration. You want it with a throwaway skill in conjunction with a deployable skill. So you could have the drone here, but I think this exact combination is the strongest. Just set your turret up, keep changing targets to keep reprocking tag team. You'll get these bad boys back, you know, very, very quickly, especially in group play when you do have a lot of enemies around, so tag team is up more frequently. And on top of all of that, we're getting massive amounts of weapon damage, because Capacitor recognises a 6 skill tier, which means we're getting 7.5 times that 6, which is 45, so 45% additional weapon damage, plus the 12.5% I'm getting here as well. Yeah, there's no crit chance and crit damage on this build, so my stats are quite low in that department, but you know, that's not the end of the world. This isn't a weapon damage build. This is here to get my Seeker Mines back as fast as possible, and with all of the weapon damage buffs and the skill damage buffs, along with the frequent Seekers, it's brilliant. Really, really good. Try it out for yourself. Let me know what you think. If you'd consider maybe changing some pieces around here. Do you think I'm missing a trick here by not having any exotic? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. Until then, I will see you all in the next video. Peace.